In today's video, I'm going to cover the obvious things people forget to do prior to an interview, because I always feel the mistakes that are most frustrating are the mistakes that you didn't have to make. Let's go. Hi everybody, I'm Ben White with Ben Talks Talent. I've got 12 years experience in interviewing, hiring, and recruiting, and I'm passionate about using my experience to help you become the best candidate possible and land your next job. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about something that I think is pretty important, and that's the obvious things that people still forget to do prior to an interview, why you shouldn't do them, how to correct it to make sure it doesn't happen to you again. But before we get into that, do me a favor. If you are new here, take 3 seconds, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit that notification bell. That way you never miss one of my free videos, and if you are not new, welcome back. Now, let's get into the video. Now, the first thing that people forget to do is appropriate research on the company. So most people will do a quick Google search, but that's not enough. Sometimes there's the expectation from the recruiter, the HR person, or the hiring manager that you have spent significant time looking into their story, what it is they do, why they do things, their values, their product, their service. Those things are really important. So when you look at it, don't just do cursory research. Spend appropriate amount of time digging in, not just to their website, but go to Google, go to news, look at the current events, know what's going on with the company, have an idea of their story and how they were founded and how they have grown. Do yourself a favor. You only get one opportunity to make a good first impression. And sometimes that first impression is them asking you, what do you know about our company? Don't mess that up. Another easy one is to be friendly and kind to the people on the way in. Now, sometimes as you walk into an interview, you are nervous. Interviewing is a nerve-wracking thing. You probably don't do it a lot, so you walk in and you're tense, you're uptight. But when you're doing that, you know what you're not doing? You're not making a good impression with the people that you are meeting along the way into the interview. So my advice, smile, be friendly, and be nice to every single person you encounter on your way into the interview. I can't tell you how many times I've had a hiring manager say to me, you know, Ben, after this candidate interviewed with me, I was a little bit on the fence. I went and I asked, our gatekeeper, our receptionist, and I said, hey, what did you think of the person when they came in? And sometimes that's very positive. Oh, they were very friendly, smiled, spoke, talked to me. And sometimes, they seemed a bit cold. This might not happen, but it definitely could. So make sure you're doing everything to stack the chips in your favor. Be kind to everybody that you meet as you come in, and smile. The next thing that people forget to do is they forget to research the people they are going to meet with. So when you get scheduled for an on-site interview, you're going to get an invitation. And in that invitation, you should be able to look and see the names of the people you are going to meet with. Well, once you have that, go on LinkedIn and find those people and look at their backgrounds. Some of you are thinking, well, Ben, is that creepy? I don't know, probably not, maybe. But you should still do it. I don't think it's creepy, for the record. But when you go there and you look at them, what are you finding out? A lot of information. How long they've been at the company. Have they been promoted since they've come to the company? What are the other companies they've worked for? But what you can also do is find out about them. So you have icebreakers, right? So you look down and you see, where did they go to school? Maybe you went to school there. Maybe you share an alma mater. If that's the case, don't you want to know that information so you can say, hey, saw you went to Penn State. I went to Penn State too. Did you catch the game the other week? That is a good way for you to build rapport, create an icebreaker, and start building a relationship in the interview. But there's also interest. There's volunteering. What if it turns out they volunteer for an organization that you have also volunteered for in the past, or a cause you're passionate about? Do the research. One of the things that is maybe not great, but just a reality of recruiting is people want to hire people they like. Now, people should hire good teammates who are a great fit for the job, who can do the job, but so oftentimes people default to connections and who they connect with. And you need to do everything you can to be that person they connect with, and the least of that means going and doing easy research on their LinkedIn profiles. Another thing people forget to do is they forget to actually plan out the logistics. Like, where am I going to be? How long does it take to get there? And is it factoring in traffic? I am the type of person where I really like to control everything I can control. So I will literally drive to the place that I'm going to interview to make sure there's not unforeseen construction and I know where it is and I'm not nervous the morning of trying to figure out where I'm going to go and interview. If you go to Google Maps and you do it at 8 p.m. at night, but your interview's at 9 a.m., that's not taking into account the traffic you might encounter on the way in. So definitely plan, because the last thing you want to do is do all the appropriate research, be insanely qualified, but then mess up on the way in. That is definitely a mistake you don't have to make. The next thing people forget to do is prepare meaningful questions. If you've watched any of my videos, you probably know I feel really strongly about questions. You as a candidate, preparing questions is a thing you can absolutely control to differentiate yourself amongst the competition. Candidate A with bad questions doesn't look as good as candidate B with amazing questions, all things considered, all things being equal. So it's a great point to differentiate yourself. Think about it this way. If you ask a question like, how long have you been at the company? What does that say? Besides it being incredibly uninspiring, it also says, oh, well, Ben, you didn't research anything about me prior to the interview. It's literally a question that you're worse off for asking. Now compare that with candidate B, who has a great question. A question like, what are the characteristics of the previous people who have held this role and have been successful? Not only is that incredibly insightful, it's a good question, but it sets you up to be successful in subsequent interviews because you can take that information. If they say, well, Ben, the people who have been successful are the prepared people who do their homework and are incredibly detail oriented. And then in the next interview, they say, hey, Ben, give me some words to describe yourself. Well, I would say I'm prepared. I'm detail oriented. I'm all the things you said the other day about great candidates. So yeah, prepare great questions. It's easy to do. You can do it ahead of time and it makes a huge difference. The next thing is a quick one, but make sure your phone is on silent or leave it in the car. The last thing you want to do is show up on time, be insanely qualified, be perfect for the role, be well-researched, well-prepared, and you get a call in the middle of your interview. You don't want that. So make sure your phone is off, 100% on silent, or leave it in the car. The last thing you want is something so small to cause such significant harm to your possible candidacy. Check Glassdoor, check Google.com, look at their reviews. If you go in to an interview without actually doing research on the company and how current and former employees feel about the company, that's just irresponsible. So make sure you do that. That's another thing that is obvious, but people forget to do that. Sometimes people get so excited about the opportunity. They work so hard at preparing that they forget to look at the little things like that. Definitely check Glassdoor, definitely check Google. Lastly, dress for success. Do a mirror check before you leave the house. Make sure there's nothing in your teeth, your hair looks good, you're dressed for success. All those things are important. And if it comes down to it where you're like, am I gonna be too overdressed or am I gonna be too underdressed? Always err on the side of being more professional. The last thing you wanna do is be in an interview looking less dressed up than the person sitting across from you. If that happens and they're in a suit and you have on like a tank top, I'm being exaggerative here, but you get what I'm saying. You don't want to be less formal, less dressed up than the person being there. So unless you get specific direction on how to dress, err on the side of being a little bit more formal and a little bit more dressed up, you will very rarely regret that. There you have it. Those are the things people overlook. Now, you don't have to. Good luck in your next interview. You got this.